Good afternoon and welcome to a budgeting seminar where we will discuss Priman's offering for rapidly implementable budgeting solution, which is at the same time also flexible and can take advantage already of your company's budgeting processes and tools that people have used to working with. My name is Toomas Mõttus and I will be hosting today's seminar. This seminar will be recorded, so if you need to come back to some content afterwards, it will be available at Friday. So let's get going. So it's like September. COVID has been pretty tough for all our industries. So, and everyone will be reviewing the budgets for next year, and maybe budgeting is more important in coming weeks than it was in previous years. And I think we have a solution that will improve your budgeting process and make it better and more flexible. So I'm Toomas Mõttus, as I said. I'm Microsoft certified AI engineer. I'm working with data solutions in Priman. I have been Microsoft certified now for more than 20 years. So I am that old, yeah. And in Priman, we are concentrated on data solutions. We believe that by using data, we can help our customers to be more efficient, effective, to be more successful. And our strategic view is that it's people that we help in companies to be more successful. And by that, we also help the companies to be more successful. And currently, we believe that data cloud solutions are those areas that have the biggest impact in success, in creating new efficiencies. And when we're looking at market right now, this COVID situation that we are challenging ourselves right now, this requires new view on how we do business, how rapidly we can do business. And currently this IONO budgeting solution is exactly the solution that we believe can be implemented rapidly. It gives value to you, and it also, as customers or your people don't need to learn new skills, the skills they already have in using Excel, in using Office 365 product lines. They can reuse those skills and take this product into use quite rapidly. And the thing why we are talking about budgeting and reporting in particular is because we need those results rapidly. So if we do budgeting review just once a quarter or once a half year, then situation can change in days, and you need to be able to react to those changing circumstances very rapidly. And relying just on financial data that you can get only once a month, it may be too slow a process. And in a budgeting solution, you can also include data that is not financial data. It may be some performance data based on your sales guys' visits, how many calls they make. You can track those. If you can track those things, you can add those data into your reporting and understand how your reporting, how you need to change your business. I just last week listened to some guys who are running a global consultancy business, and they saw that if they want to keep up with the current predictions or sales pipeline that they have put as a target, they need to increase their sales calls at least by half, and that's with budgeting solution is a way for them to target that, to log it and understand if the performance, how does it affect their performance. Another part that we are seeing why we need a proper budgeting solution is that we need this data not just on paper when our accountant creates those reports. We want this data on the go. We want that data to be available on our computer when we come to office. And that means that that report has to be generated automatically, and it has to bring data together from different sources, so that when we come to our computer, we have all the data updated. It's like hour late or 2 hours late, not a month late, and you can make decisions that you can rely on during these tumultuous times that we have at hand. But currently it's autumn. It's a usual time for making budgets. Our company also, we are now starting this budgeting process. So, and I will tell you how we are doing this budgeting, and maybe you will see similarities with your own process. And we are seeing very much the same process at our customers' locations. And then we can discuss what is a solution that can help you in that process. The first step in this budgeting process usually is that our business line managers think what will be the business like next year. So this will be this business as usual budget. When we don't do any mergers and acquisitions, when we don't make huge investments into business lines, or when we don't add additional products or vendors into our business line, what is like the business as usual? Then those business as usual input is reviewed by our management board, by our partners, and then we set out those growth expectations, because partners have better picture of what's available in market, what kind of opportunities are there. They are usually more ambitious than our department managers, and then they set those higher expectations, and then we see this budget that has those higher expectations within, and then we have to go and decide in this step 4 what kind of investments are our partners ready to make this higher expectation budget. And with those investments, because if we make those investments, it means less money to our partners. So we have to make those investments, and by combining those investments and those higher expectation budget, we get to this financial budget, which is like a final Excel spreadsheet by department in our organization. And then we compare those financial budget and think what kind of process changes we have to make in our organization to achieve that financial budget. And we set performance measures for our employees. For example, if we see that our support department needs to grow like 30%, then probably when we need to add salespeople, or we need to add some kind of new sales methods. And when we add those sales methods, how many more customer requests will we have in a year if we grow 30%? And then we have to decide what kind of people we need to fulfill those requirements and maintain high service standards that we have in place right now. And when we combine those performance measures and financial budget, we get this performance budget where we have those like a tactical plan for our departments together with a financial targets. But then actually when we have this final budget, that doesn't mean it's final, because during year we have to review it several times. We usually review it at the end of spring. We review it in the middle of summer when there's a vacation time, and then we also review it afterwards in the autumn, so that we will get this review cycle in, and then we can add those additional opportunities that we have discovered. We add those opportunities into our planning, and also if there are some risks that have like materialized, we also have to take those into account. So we are doing this kind of media change. That means from our organization side, we do 3 times budget corrections, but a lot of our customers do a quarterly revision so that they see what kind of results they have now, and then they do a prediction for coming quarters and see how does it relate to the budget that they created at the beginning of the year. And we need to keep this process easy. If we create some very special application into this process, then we have to train a lot of people. And we are seeing also at our customers that customers are not ready to train people during this tough time when they have to rapidly write new or create new budgets. The easiest way is to take your Excel spreadsheets that you have in your already workflow, do a little bit modification there to standardize it, so that you can take these Excel spreadsheets, bring them into budgeting solution, and start from there directly, so that this total process will be faster, and also you don't need your employees to train into and acquaint themselves with new software products. And from architecture point of view, the solution usually is so that we have those spreadsheets in Excel tables. Then we have defined those structures, or we can say that it's master data, but we have defined how budgeting information relates to actual financial report data, so that we have all those accounts and departments and everything mapped out. And when those automatic procedures import data from budgeting solution, because you need to change budget probably several times at the year end, and you also need to import the daily financial report. So you need to put structures into your solution that keep those different data sets tied, and you get valuable reports. So we have built a solution where majority of our customers don't have to learn new products. They don't need to learn new procedures. They just continue the procedures, but get a rapid reporting system and analysis system where they can reuse the knowledge and concentrate on the business, not on technology. So, and if we need some really complex data transformation workflows, we can always take Azure Data Services and do some transformations there and clean up data if it's necessary. Okay, But let's look at one of those tools that we use, and the main tool that our customers like, and we also like very much, is Microsoft PowerBI. It's a fantastic tool for bringing data together, for making those visualizations where you make this like understandable to your people even at first glance. And as Microsoft has provided this Power BI as an open architecture, then there is a very rich developer community around Power BI that is building new tools for your Power BI reports. And now I will present you one of those fantastic tools that one of our partners, Value, has created, and it's visual tool. It's a Power BI visualization. It works in every Power BI implementation, but of course, as with every Power BI solution, it's free when you're doing it alone, and you have to start paying when you collaborate. The same goes with that tool, but it makes this simulation of different strategies, simulation of different ways how your business may evolve, very visual and easily understandable. So this is a tool. It's basically you can map here your structure, how your business is structured. In this example, I don't have very many structural components, and some of those are in Estonian, but I hope you understand the structure, because you see it's like a total result. Here we have gross profit, and then we have different cost groups, and then we have from gross profit we have our revenue and direct cost associated with these sales. So we have this gross profit as a subtraction calculation. And here, when we define this model, we can define that model very easily by just bringing in your structure. There is a structure file where you can define what is your structure for these accounts and sub those departments. But if you don't have this kind of structure within already available as a separate structure table, you can come here and define your structure, how you want to structure your costs and revenue in this solution. So here we have this like main or root item, and when we look at this root item, we see that this root consists of sum of all its children. So it can have some of those like sub branches, but it can be also some kind of other calculation. For example, in some budgeting tools, or if you are creating this budgeting data, sometimes you have revenue with plus sign and all the costs also with plus sign. So you can create different like schemes where you can subtract. For example, you have revenue as one sum, and then you subtract all the costs from there, and those costs are also like in your file or in your model with plus sign, but you can here define that you have to subtract. If you are not using balance sheet type of or profit and loss statement type of structure, you can also enter exact formula here. So you can do this calculation. Basically, it's a exact type formula type, so you can add different departments together or do some other calculation, multiplication if you need. And as it's a visual tool, you have a possibility to define what kind of, what is your target here? Do you need to increase the total target or decrease it? If it's like, if you improve your results, does it mean that increasing or decreasing? And by that you also see is like formatting here. For example, if you define that you want to, your target is to increase, then you can say that when it decreases, it's with it will be red, and the other way around. So, for example, if you need to decrease cost, then that means that if your costs are going above 10%, you go and say that those costs are like red. So you can reverse it and say what kind of is your target increasing or decreasing of this result. And and as part of an important part of that solution is simulation. You can also say what kind of those calculation does the simulation include. If we're looking like the main thing, then like main scenario, then usually that means that if we calculate that every month our sales will increase 10% from month to month, it's an example. If you have such a great increase, then congratulations. But that means that actually it's cumulative, and in the end it will go faster because you are multiplying that increase every month. But if you have like limited resources, for example, your project team cannot grow as rapidly as or exponentially, that means that your project team can like take every month one project. That means 12 projects a year, and that means that your growth in like service revenue will be just like in 12 steps. So you can define those kinds of increase patterns here, how your this like business looks like, and what kind of increase or decrease can you see in your business, those business lines. And here, for example, in this gross profit side, it's exactly how we have defined it. So that, for example, here we have a sum of children, but when we go deeper here, excuse me, we can define that it's not a sum of children, but it's a sum of some kind of structure that you have in place. For example, we have here defined that our business, those revenue consists of maybe 10, 15 different accounts. If a smaller company, you have less accounts. If you're a larger company, you may have a larger number of accounts. Here you can define that if you have in structure properly defined this structure, you can define it as a higher level component, not just a account level thing. So, and it's very similar to other Power BI filtering capabilities, that if you have proper connection with your table, for example, you have financial table and budgeting table, and you have defined proper connections between those tables through your balance sheet definition, for example, or account table, then you can use those higher level filtering, higher levels of filtering here, and it will be easier to define those models. And here, of course, we can say that we want to increase our revenue, but when we look at our business costs, then here in configuration, we have here also increase. And the reason why here we have increase is that in this model I'm showing you, we have all income we have a plus sign, and all costs we have minus sign. So if it's a minus, we still need to increase, because the smaller the minus, the higher the value. So we don't need to change that parameter in our model. But if we had the model, budgeting models, that a lot of companies actually have, so that they have profits with plus sign and also cost of plus sign, then here we need to define that we need to decrease those costs, because this is a big plus in model. And here on this gross profit field, if we have those in with plus sign, we should define it. It's like A minus B, so model, so that we will subtract costs from profits. But here in this model, we have profits with minus sign and profits with plus sign and costs with minus sign. So this is not a problem. And now also we can define data series. We can define what kind of data series in our solution we have as a actual results, what kind of data series we have as budget, and then we can do this proper comparison. And when we have defined our model, we can go to simulation pane, and here we can define several scenarios, and we can save those scenarios. Different pricing models have different number of scenarios that you have here available for saving, but even in this free solution you have 2 scenarios at least, and in larger solutions you have more. So and I think when you are doing collaboration, you should definitely take this for money model, because every one of your people wants to save a scenario or play with those scenario. And when you start mixing your scenario with some other person's scenario, then they will not be very happy. And changing this scenario is quite easy. For example, here in our structure, we see that we have year-to-date profit 157,000. Yearly profit prediction we have is 307. And here we can see also that from this budget we have some kind of variance. It's not exactly the same as in budget. And when we want to change those numbers, we can come here and come to business profits and change it, because in current COVID times we see that a lot of change is there. And when we change it, like let's say that our profit will decrease 4%, we will see that it will impact on our financial year profit quite heavily. Here it used to be 300,000, now it's 170. So if our revenue decreases just 4%, we will see 54%. No, sorry. We see larger change in our total profit, and you can go through all those changes, and you can also probably, if your profits will be smaller, your sales cost will be also smaller. Probably you can say that your sales cost will go maybe 10% down or 15, and then we see that it didn't help very much. You still have quite small profit, and you can also play with all your cost lines and see what will happen to your business when this unpredictable or even if it's predictable, what happens if you change some kind of parameter in your financial budget. So it's a very easy visual tool, and those people who don't like Excel tables can come and open that tool and do their own calculations and see what happens if their business line is not doing as well as predicted. You can also define your own KPIs. We haven't, in this model, we haven't defined any KPIs, but this KPI you can define per node. So here in this, for example, if we have a profit node, then we can say that here we can define KPIs, and also it's a formula stuff where you put in formula and then can see does this node in this node, does this node fulfill your KPI requirements or no? And you can also change number formats and stuff. It's like, I think is given. I don't have to go through those stuff. The most important thing is that it's visual. You just, people enter this data in Excel tables. We bring in together with Excel tables actual financial data, and then you can have this comparison how your financial data relates to actual financial data relates to your budget, and if you make some changes in revenues in future periods, you can also take a longer period and make changes there. So this here shows year-to-date revenue plan. That's why it's smaller now, but if we take a longer period, we can see what's happening. So, for example, we say that we will start marketing new product in March, probably we'll have revenue there in April. We can say that, okay, starting from April, we will add a little bit new revenue, and then probably also we will do marketing very well this summer, and then starting from September, we can also do some additional revenue. So you can add all those small scenarios in and see, and you can also enter those data month by month if you need. So you have this table here. This is like automatic calculation that this tool created based on this slider. But if I don't use that slider, I use this manual model as I showed you in configuring notes, then you can add this data by hand and it will take this data into account. So I think this is a very nice solution, and it improves a lot on visibility side in your organization. And when it's like tough times and people need to evaluate how do business changes in business environment affect them, it's better than using Excel tables, because a lot of management level people have grown to management not from financial side, but have grown from other business lines, and they are not so well acquainted with Excel and would prefer more visual tools. This is about this demo thing. And so I showed you that tool, and why we think that our solution is easy to implement is that if your company already has been using Office 365 products, then people are acquainted with Excel, they're acquainted with Exchange, SharePoint, those environments, and also Power BI. All those products have the same logic how they operate, and in implementing different business intelligence solutions, what we see is that technical implementation usually goes very rapidly because those partner you take into your company, that partner has implemented the solution you are buying maybe several times, and they know exactly how to implement it quickly. But when they deliver the product and your own people need to start using, they don't have proficiency to use that solution efficiently and effectively. And that's where this implementation very often stalls. And I believe that our solution using standard components will provide us better learning curve, or lower learning curve. They don't need to learn so many new things and can start using that budgeting solution right away. And the things we use here in our solution are part of them, are all Power Platform parts. A lot of Power Platform functionality is already included in Office 365 subscription. So if your people start using these solutions in implementation phase, you don't have to pay additional licenses. When you take it into use, then of course you cannot bypass licensing requirements, but it's still, you have to start paying when you start receiving value. So I think this is a key thing with cloud solutions, is that you don't have to pay before you start receiving value. And I have talked about Power Platform in different seminars, and it's a really nice development in the sense that it provides rapid development environment, no code development environment, and self-service capabilities. You have to take it with a pinch of salt because not everyone is capable of doing those high-level easy stuff. but on average, if you already have some experience with those tools, it will be easy to use. Power Automate helps you to automate stuff. We're using Power Automate extensively in our this budgeting solution. We use Power Apps for data entry, and we use Power BI for showing all those reports, year-to-date data, how performance is, how your company is performing, and of course the simulation stuff. It's like, I think it's great. Okay, so this was a very short introduction of our product capabilities. If you think that it may help you, don't hesitate to contact us. And if you need some, and as I said, it's very extensible. You don't have to worry if your company systems are compliant, because we can integrate hundreds of different systems and collect data from a number of systems. As you see from this Power Platform chart, it's like more than 250 connectors to different cloud services already available. And I think it is one of the key features also, because in budgeting solution or performance management, you don't want only a financial data, but you want to also include data from your CRM system, how your pipeline is doing. You want to include data from maybe customer satisfaction service. So we, thanks to this Power Platform extensibility, you can connect to all those data sources and bring all that data into one dashboard for you to make high quality decisions and improve your businesses and make your businesses more successful. So that's, I think, concludes my today's seminar. Thank you very much. I don't see any questions, so I hope I wasn't talking too rapidly, but thank you. very much. We don't have any questions, but if you have any questions, then don't hesitate to contact me, thomas.mottos@primem.com, or just info@primem.com or support@primem.com. All those addresses are available to you. Thank you.